Hello, welcome to a very hot edition of Jim's Allotment Garden. So as always, we'll start in the greenhouse. This week I've removed a lot of the leaves etc. off the tomato plant. As you know from the problems I've been having, I'd remove them from the right hand side anyway, but I've been removing a lot of leaves from the bottom. I've also cut a lot of the tops off to expose the tomatoes to the sunlight. You need to do that this time of year so the tomatoes start to ripen properly. As you can see down here, we've got quite a few ripe tomatoes now. They're all starting to turn. And one bit of advice I can give you is, if you've got some ripe tomatoes, don't pick them immediately, because the ripe tomatoes will actually send the other tomatoes in the greenhouse ripe. So you'll find if you keep picking, it's exactly the same thing as putting the banana in here. They give off some gas or hormone or whatever, and it'll send the rest of them red for you. So don't pick them immediately. Try and leave some on if you can, and then your tomatoes will ripen that much quicker for you. You know, they'll all come together. As you can see, in fact, I'll just quickly show you outside. It's probably easier if I show you from the outside. There are absolutely loads of cucumbers, absolutely inundated with cucumbers. I've actually been giving them to my chickens as well, but you can see they're all up here. They're hanging like bunches of grapes, to be honest with you. You can see there's absolutely loads of them. I've been taking them to friends at work as well. But obviously when you start to get this many cucumbers on the plant, make sure you give them plenty of water, because they're trying to support so many cucumbers at once. Obviously you need to keep them well fed and watered. Today it's actually reached, if you can see that, 44 degrees in here, and at the moment it's 33. The tomatoes, I don't know if you can see them up the corner, I can't quite reach them. That's what they all look like before I cut them all back last night. So what I did is I chopped all the tops off. I took quite a lot out, to be honest with you, just to expose all of these so that they ripen. As you can see, they are starting to ripen. There's a few down the bottom there. Touch wood, I've not had any more blight in here, so I think that Bordeaux mixture that I showed you has done the trick. As I say, it's the first time I've used it. I don't really like using chemicals, but it really has done the trick. It's stopped the blight in its tracks. As you can see, I've got some more ripened tomatoes there, but I'm leaving them on to send the others ripe as well, like the rest of them. Now the grapevine has actually come out the top now, so that one's doing really well. It's got a bit of a leaf. I was going to try and encourage it a bit to try and pull the leaf through a bit. So just be careful. If I do that, it'll encourage it to grow a bit. This one here, I still haven't got round to cutting the third one off, but this one here is most certainly doing well, and I think this one here will be the one. But as you can see, this is actually coming off this is the one that was broken off, so I think what I'll do is I'll cut that one off there and leave that one running. That one seems to be doing well, and I'll take this one off. Seems to be the weakest one. So that's the greenhouse. Apart from the fact, you'll see the squashes have gone, so they've actually gone into the garden. Outside, I've watered the strawberries this week. I need to do them again tonight, but I'm trying to get them to recover, because obviously I didn't water them. Now, bit of success here as well. I've got another pumpkin coming. So what I'll do is I'll check to make sure that I haven't got any more coming on the. That's gone all the way. Look at that! It's gone all the way down there, through the fence, and it's working its way along there. So what I'll do is I'll probably chop it off here. I'll leave that male flower on, and I'll chop it off there and pull that out of the way. So because we just want the one pumpkin on there. These hollyhocks have just about finished. So what I'll do in the next episode, what I'll do is I'll start to show you how to start collecting seed off various plants. These are, you can see these seed pods here, which used to be the flowers. So I'll be collecting some of them, and there's actually some down the road as well, which are pink. So what I might do is grow some pink ones as well, because they're quite nice. With hollyhocks, you grow them 1 year, and then it's the following year that they actually flower for you. So right, and you'll see that I've weeded out the carrots. I did this just after I did the last video. I've been watering them every night, but it's been so hot. It's just dried out again. So what I've done is I've set seed in between. I don't know if you can see, there's some little seedlings coming through there. Can you see? There's just one there. One there. So the fresh seed that I put in is coming through. The Josterberry bushes are suffering a bit in this heat, but I'm giving them plenty of water every day. Again, seed from the asparagus. I'll be showing you how to collect that. But what you need to do is let these go red before you pick them. You can. Oh, there's one red here. Look, it goes like that. Can you see? What you can do is pick them whilst they're green and then leave them on a windowsill, and they will go red for you. With asparagus, if you do want to grow asparagus, it depends how patient you are. You've seen the bees down here. There's absolutely loads of bees today. They're loving these nasturtiums. With asparagus, it takes you probably about 4 to 5 years to grow them to the point where you can eat them. These have actually been in here for 6 years. I've not eaten any yet because I wanted the plants to get stronger. But if you do want to put asparagus in and actually eat them within a reasonable amount of time, like the year or so after you've planted them, go out and buy the established plants, because it takes you a while to grow them from seed. There are still, believe it or not, there are still raspberries coming. On the there's not so many now, but some of the later varieties are starting to. Just zoom in on that one there. There you go. I've just come across the middle, so you can actually see the raspberries I was trying to zoom in on. These later varieties, I don't know if you can see, they tend to be a little bit bigger than the early varieties, so they are actually nice. They don't tend to taste as strong, but as you can see, it's a reasonable sized raspberry. Anyway, whilst I'm eating, as you can see, there's very little wind today. It was absolutely red hot up here earlier on, but it's started to cool down a bit now. So the sunflowers have gone balmy. These ones now, that's got to be 7 foot tall. That's got to be about 7.5 foot tall, and they are starting to form the flower. That's the starting of the flower there. This one's a bit more obvious. That's obviously the starting of the flower there. So I'd imagine they'll be in flower in the next 2 weeks. Right, in the first tunnel, if I can get through, there's been loads of peas. As you can see, the peas are ready now. As soon as it gets to that big, pick them. If you start to get like white bits on here, they've gone too far. They're more like marifat peas if you leave them too long. So with peas, if you're growing them yourself, really pick them when they're fresh, because that's when they're the best. Unless you want to eat them like mange too, obviously pick them when they're more like that, where they're still thin. But you know, when you actually eat the pods as well. But we've been picking these now for quite a few days. So there's a few down there that need to be picking. The kale is growing really well. I've not actually picked any yet, but we've been getting through the other brassicas, so I've left this a bit. But with kale, you don't want to leave it too long, because it can get a little bit tough if you're not careful. So really now this is the ideal time to start to pick it. And what I suggest you do is start to pick at the bottom, pick the lower leaves first and leave the top, and then what you'll end up with is the top will sort of generate fresher leaves. So start at the bottom, don't take the heart out of it, like the top, the growing bit. Take the leaves off from the bottom, it'll carry on growing, you can get more and more then. These peas that I put in a couple of weeks ago, as you can see, have done really well. I've been watering these every night, so the weeds have done well as well, but they'll be starting to flower soon. I can see there's a flower just forming there. So spinach again, it's doing well. Spinach beet not quite as well, but it's coming. I've actually had one run to seed because of this weather. It's bolted. You can see here. You can tell when it's bolted. It sends up this shoot in the middle. So that one's bolted as well. The one that had bolted is this one here. I've actually pulled the top off, but I'm afraid that's what happens with this type of weather. Turnips are doing well as well. So that's the first tunnel. Not doing too badly in there. Sweet peas are absolutely lovely smell. As you can see, we're doing really well. Pull off the I've left these on to show you actually, these front ones, but when you get these after the flowers are formed, pull them off, because you can save these for seeds, but to be honest with you, you may as well just buy the seed from a shop with sweet peas, I find, because they never really come true. So unless you want all purple ones next year that don't smell particularly much, I'd suggest you get your seed from fresh every year. So just pull them off and out of the way, then it'll carry on growing and flowering. Some flowers again. There's the big one. I'm watering them every night. Now in here, some of the I had a load more of the broccoli. I shan't open the door, but the broccoli's doing well. It looks pretty much the same as it does in the last video. Now I don't know if you can see, but the courgettes are doing well. There's 2 on there. I've actually given 3 of these to the chickens today, because we just that one there's a bit big, so they'll have that one tomorrow. Getting loads of pumpkins growing as well. There's one. These sweet peas are growing up merrily. Again, smell really nice. And there's some more pumpkins down here, more courgettes. So, but to be honest with you, we have been eating them, but they've been coming that quickly because I'm watering them every night because of the weather. They're coming really quick, which is a good thing really. But again, with these sweet peas, look, you need to pull these off. There's a couple of them missed. If you pull these off, then obviously they'll carry on flowering for you. So I have missed quite a few actually, I'm surprised. But with this weather, as I say, they flower and go to seed really quickly. But there's some more there, I'll catch them later on. So there's the courgettes and the pumpkins that are there. Now earlier this week, I dug some potatoes up here, and I made a quick video just to show you how the potatoes are. Okay, so this is the area that was mainly affected by blight, so I'm going to start by digging these potatoes out. So when you're digging potatoes out, obviously that's where the actual plant is there. What you need to imagine is the potatoes are probably in that area there, so you need to make sure that your fork is, you know, further enough way back so you don't spike the potatoes. Having said that, I've been doing this for years and I still spike potatoes. But there's the first one. That doesn't seem to be affected by blight. So there's some. That's the seed potato there. That's the potato I put in the first place. So that's not. So they're not too bad. Not as big as they were last year, but I can't grumble really. I mean, the kestrel, which is the variety that I grow, you can always tell a kestrel because it's got purple bits on the. That's where the eyes will form next year if you use it as a seed potato. But they're a second early potato, so really you should be digging them up sort of about now. Because I've had the blight, I'm going to most certainly get rid of the rest of the roots as well. But, so let's see if there's any more in here. So there are plenty of potatoes on. Oh, there's a good sized one. So that was
last year I was getting potatoes probably about that big, but we had a better year last year than we've had this year because the weather was, oh hang on, no, I'll take it all back, this isn't too bad actually for one root. What you need to make sure of is obviously you don't grow potatoes in the same place twice, so unless you want potatoes coming up next year where you had them this year, what you need to make sure is you get absolutely every single potato out, even if it's a small potato. I mean something as big as that, which is only at the size of my thumbnail, that will grow next year if I don't get it out the ground. So even if you don't intend to eat it, get it out the ground, otherwise you'll be growing potatoes again. So this is the second root now. Make sure you get if you've had the blight, make sure you get the stalks out, because they might potentially have blight. So you can see an example there that the first one had I think it was those. The first root had those potatoes on. The second root had those potatoes on. Now, if you want lots of potatoes kind of this size, leave every eye on the potato. So you've got, sometimes you maybe have 6 or 7 eyes coming out. If you leave them all on, you'll get lots of smaller potatoes. If you want large potatoes for bakers or chips or something like that, what you need to do is take off all of the eyes except for maybe 1 or 2, and then you'll get fewer larger potatoes. So depending on how you want to grow them, I typically just put them in because I typically have a mixture, but if you just want to grow large potatoes like this, or typically they're a bit larger, what you need to do is leave fewer eyes on the potatoes, so maybe 2, 3 maximum. If you want lots of smaller potatoes, then leave them all on. You might have 6 or 7 eyes on. So this next one here, that's a stone. It's no good. So there's absolutely no sign of blight at all on these. So this is the third root, and by the look of it, this one had more eyes on it, because I've got, oh hang on, that's got blight, that one. That one's alright. I'll show you the blighted one in a moment. The way I typically do it, I don't know if you've just seen me do that, but what I do is go down with your fork, then as you come up, what you need to do is like shake it like that, and you'll find that the potatoes will come to the surface because they're lighter than the ground. So I've still got, that's the last part of the root there. That's actually off the next one. That one's alright. I mean, even these really small ones here, you know, even some that are that big, will actually grow next year if you don't fetch them out. But oh, that's what you don't want to do. I've just put the fork through there. It's got blight anyway, so it's not too much of a blight. Right, I've definitely got all of them out of there. And if you think you've got all the potatoes out, just go over it one more time, like that. It's important that you wait till the ground is reasonably dry, because digging up potatoes when the ground's wet is a nightmare, because all the dirt sticks to the potatoes. Now if it's dry, it'll just come off like that. If it is a little bit wet, what you can do is just leave the potatoes on top of the ground or on the path like this for 10 minutes, and then you'll find that you can just brush off. See, these have only been out for a couple of minutes and already you can brush the dirt off. Because when you store them, you don't want them to be damp, and the soil on them will retain moisture. So when you store them, you want them like that. So they might have a bit of dust on, but so that'll store really well. So I thought there might have been a bit of blight there. Right, this is the one that's got blight, and as you can see, there's some white bits on there. Then if I press it with my thumb, you see there's moisture coming out, and if I actually break into that, can you see it's got like a really nasty sort of rotting smell. That's no good. If you get any potatoes like that, get them in the bin, get them away from your ground straight away, because obviously the fungal spores are in there, so you need to get that straight in the bin and away from all of your healthy potatoes. If you do suspect any potatoes have got it, but you don't want to do what I've just done and knock a hole in it, pour all your potatoes out to dry. Any that you're a little bit suspicious about, keep them separate, because if you've got one potato and you've got one next to it with blight, it'll infect the one next to it. So if you're drying them out in the shed or something, keep them separate like that. Wait till they've dried and then you can bag them up later. So that was the first root. So there's quite a few little potatoes on there, some reasonable sized ones. That was the second root. Obviously they're more sort of baking size. They're a little bit small, but obviously it's because we've had a dry year. And that was the third root, and that was the one with one potato on this that got a little bit of blight. Even though that one's a bit odd shaped, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a bit odd shaped. So that's from the first three roots. That's not a bad crop.
So moving further down, I've fetched all the tops off, the weeds off and everything. I'm still kind of going through getting that, but the parsnips are still growing well. I'm just giving them a bit of water like once a week or something. Beetroot, I don't know if you can see, they're not starting to form particularly much at the bottom yet. They're probably about 2 inches across, but germination wasn't brilliant with them. The white ones haven't done too badly, which are these ones, the ones that look like spinach. As you can see there, that they're sort of about an inch or so across the white ones, but the white ones tend to be sort of elongated, the red ones are more round. The Swedes, again, germination wasn't very good. I'm watering them every night. Return of the rhubarb. The rhubarb's gone balmy. It's all come back, as I said it would earlier in the year, as you can see. Some good rhubarb on there. If you want to know how to pick, eat whatever rhubarb, check out my earlier videos. I explained it earlier in the year how to pull it and prepare it for food and everything. The beans have gone absolutely balmy. I'm picking about a bucket of beans every couple of nights, and it's taking about an hour to process them, but it's well worth it because they are really nice. Let's see, I need to pick these tonight. I didn't pick any last night, so tonight's the night to pick them. So as soon as it gets a bit cooler later on, I'll be picking them. Sorry, I don't know if you've noticed, I've actually weeded all of this, so you can actually see the plants now. So I was going to mention that. I had a bit of a weeding session on earlier this week. Likewise here, this has all been weeded. The marigolds, or the calendulas, have put on a really nice show. I've not deadheaded. I have been deadheading them, but I've left some on, because what I want to do is, whilst I've still got some flowers on, like here there's a yellow flower, I want to try and save some of them, so I'm going to be pulling some of the seeds off. So in the next video I'll show you how to keep the seeds for calendula. I bought one packet of calendulas probably about 9 years ago, and I've been saving my own seed ever since. So, and some of them have reverted back to yellow, some of them stayed orange, some of them are like a paley cream colour, but as you can see all the beans here. There's absolutely loads of them. Look, all from here. So you can see why I'm getting a bucket today, or every other day. Sorry. There's just it's getting to the point now where I'm actually missing them. So I'll come back up, and some have gone too far. That one's probably just about at the limit. If they get any bigger than that, they're just going to be stringy, not very nice to eat. So if they get any bigger than that, don't bother. Let's see if I can see a big one. If you get narrow ones like that, they're fine. Sometimes they get a bit sort of gnarly at the edges. Don't worry about that; they'll be fine. This one here is just about okay. That one is bordering on going too far. If they're more than sort of half an inch across, that's when you tend to get them a bit woody. The best way to tell is break them in half, and then if there's like a stringy bit that comes off, they've gone too far. The corn hasn't done very well at all this year. Last year my corn was about 8 foot tall, and I had about 5 corn on the cobs on each one. This year it's a completely different story. This ground here, I've got a bad bit of ground here, which I've probably said in previous videos, and the nothing grows. I mean, it's just this sort of starting from kind of here. These are the other side of the parsnips. Yeah, the row actually continued. Look at these here. They're about 3 inches tall compared to them. It's just this bit of ground here. I don't know. The ground is really heavy, and anyway, they're the 2 squashes. What I've done here is I've cleaned out my chickens, and I've put straight out of it's not rotted down manure at all. I've put it straight in the ground. I've dug all the potatoes out from here. There was 4 rows, sort of the ends of the 4 rows here, and I've dug in about, well, it's 3 barrows full of chicken manure and straw and stuff like that, and I've built the ground up a bit, dug it all over. The ground was like concrete earlier on when I was digging this in the heat. So, but I've dug it all in. I've dug all the muck in there, and I'll put the 2 squash in there. That's the butternut squash, and this is the it's called Winterfest. There's actually one just forming there, which is why I rushed to get it out. But that's more like a gourd type squash. Right, then quickly coming up this side, the other side of the potatoes. You've seen the courgettes already. These sunflowers are doing quite well. Obviously these ones here are catching up. They're amongst all the sweet peas and that, but these ones, again, this is the 3rd lot I put in. They're about 6 foot tall now, so these will be flowering slightly later. There is some startings of a flower. I don't know if you can see that. There's a bud kind of forming at the top there on that one, so I think the others will be, most certainly the ones over there, the second lot I put in, they'll most certainly be flowering in the next week or so. The onions, again, as you can see, they're starting to go brown on the outside as well. So they're, and I think we're back where we started pretty much. The strawberries look a lot better now. I've obviously been watering them, so they've started to recover. What I do need to do, as soon as they have really started to recover, I need to get in there and get all the dead material out, all the old leaves and straw and everything. But what I wanted to do was just, rather than disturb the plants first, I thought if I get them up and running again, and then I'll get in there and pull all the weeds out. So that was a really quick tour, but that's what the allotment looks like at the moment. So I hope this episode has been of some use to you. Always remember, when it's hot like this, keep everything well watered. If not to water the plants, but to keep the ground from baking hard, because as soon as it goes rock hard and starts to crack, you're not going to be able to water and get the water into the plants until the weather cools down again. So keep everything well watered. Also, in your greenhouse, make sure you water the ground, the path in your greenhouse, because that will increase the humidity in the greenhouse and also lower the temperature. So that'll be much better for your plants in your greenhouse. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Please let me know what you thought. Please put some comments below, and if you've got any questions or anything, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time on Jim's Allotment Garden. So from me and Casper Cat, bye bye.